Hello everyone and welcome. My name is John Preston Smith. I'm the author of 14,000 Dogs Later, My Life with Dogs and What I've Learned, and more recently a book entitled The Bog, The Legend of Man's Best Friend, a story about the spiritual and special relationship between man and dog. This is the sixth in the series of videos about dogs that have been my personal best friends and what I've learned from each one of those dogs. Today I want to tell you about Blue Barn's Gene Harlow, Timber, Lumber, Reader and Rescue, Labrador Retrievers all. It is a love affair that began in the early 1970s. What a decade the 70s were. It was the decade that the Beatles broke up, the decade that 4 students were shot on the campus of Kent State University, the decade of the terrorist attacks in the Olympic Games, that Elvis was found dead, and the decade of the Johnstown Massacre. It was also the decade that Mother Teresa received the Nobel Peace Prize. It was also the decade that Labrador Retrievers wormed their ways into my life and into my heart. A lab by the name of Blue Barn's Gene Harlow was my first Labrador, a beautiful yellow bitch that we fondly called Puppy Harlow. I had just opened Blue Barn boarding and training kennels, and I held obedience classes almost every night of the week. And Puppy Harlow was a gem as a training class scapegoat. She was patient and forgiving, and I used her to demonstrate the proper, appropriate correction techniques, and she just patiently stood by. What a dog. But more important, what a breed. Now please don't get me wrong, folks. I love every breed of dog, but when it comes to a well-rounded dog for your home, for the kids, as a companion, as an alarm dog, the Labrador Retriever is tough to beat. Labs are easily trained, and once spayed or neutered, they lose that hobo mentality and tend to stay right at home. Now remember, folks, in addition to labs, I've been best friends to mixed breed dogs. An Old English Mastiff, which was an exceptional dog, by the way, that I won best of breed at Westminster with. Adobe was one of the highest scoring dogs in the obedience trials in the year he competed. An incredible German Shepherd by the name of Strongheart, a Bouvier, a Rat Terrier, a Jack Russell, and a Norwegian Elkhound, all best friends of mine through my life. I differentiate dogs less by breed and more so by disposition and temperament. Now that's a whole nother topic, as they say, and maybe sometime I'll tell you how I feel about the difference between the dogs people purchase compared to the dogs that people need or want. Following Puppy Harlow came Timber and Lumber, dogs I named in honor of the beautiful trees that adorn my property. Lumber died of old age. Timber died when she left the property and crossed the road. It was a heartbreaking experience for me. I set boundaries on my property that my dogs are never supposed to cross. To this day, I do not know what lured Timber across the road, but I knew the moment that I called for her, when she did not come running, that something was wrong. I found her sprawled in a ditch across the road as if somebody had been discarding a piece of litter. I remember when I lifted her to bring her back across the road, cars in both directions slowed or stopped, and I knew every driver was thinking at that precise moment, there but for the grace of God. And I believe that each gave their own dog an extra treat or a pat on the head that very evening. That was a special moment in time, yet, yes, I was carrying my dead dog across the road, but it was also a moment in time that I shared a connection with strangers who were also dog lovers. I believe that. Then came Ryder, a black lab whose soulmate I purchased the same week a rat terrier by the name of Reader. They were inseparable friends, except when it came to the pond. On some days, for as long as an hour, Ryder would sit in the pond with only her head exposed, bass and bluegill gliding around her as if she belonged in their world. And Reader, on the other hand, could not understand such foolishness and would totally ignore Ryder until her friend had dried in the sun. You and I have friends and friendships, folks that share like opinions, chemistry, possessions, expressions. Dogs who are friends merely have each other. They sleep, they eat, they play, and they work together. Yes, they have you and me. But few of us spend the majority of the hours in a day with our pets. Dogs, on the other hand, like Ryder and Reader, who are friends, spend the majority of the day together. But good times pass, as did my years with those two wonderful friends. It was fitting then that 2 years ago their health declined at the same moment in time. They had both turned 13 years of age, forcing me into one of the most difficult decisions of all of my life with dogs. I had to have both dogs put down on the same day at the same time, and I buried them together with Reader in the arms of Ryder. And I'll tell you, I cried like a baby for 2 days. But then came Rescue and R2. Rescue, my lab, R2, my Jack Russell. And Jack Russell today rules the roost on the Smith farm. Rescue is a beautiful 98-pound yellow lab. And labs maintaining their character, their puppy characteristics longer than any other breed that I know of. It seems like I'm still dealing with the parallels and perpendiculars of the man and dog relationship. I'll continue to talk with you about many breeds, but I must tell you that labs are gentle, childlike, child-loving. They follow you around almost to the point of annoyance. They wait in anticipation of your next move. They wait for you to throw the ball in the pond, or anywhere for that matter. They lean on your leg, lay at your feet, hide your socks, are relentless at tug of war, and will sound the alarm when strangers come on your property. Friends, the Labrador Retriever is a great breed. No better than the best friend that greets you each morning, but pretty high on the 10 scale when families approach me and ask the question, John, what is one of the best breeds that you would recommend for a family with children? The Labrador Retriever. Until my next episode of Dogs I Remember, please consider purchasing my book entitled The Dog, The Legend of Man's Best Friend. It's a story about the spiritual and special relationship between man and his dog, and all the proceeds benefit our local children's hospital. It's available on Amazon, and the link follows this video. So in closing, please remember that everybody needs a dog. Hey. And every dog needs somebody. You take care.